What's going on, America? What's going on, YouTube? I'm Mike. Just wanted to introduce video number 2 for my my web series that I'm doing. I know I only have a few viewers and I only have a few subscribers, but hey, I appreciate the ones that are subscribing to me. And yeah, if you like the video, hit subscribe, like, comment. Negative, positive, whatever. I'll take them all. I'm open-minded. So if you have criticisms you want to talk about, I'm more than glad to talk about those things. So in video 2, I wanted to talk about, what's wrong with America with the politics. Okay, it's something I'm pretty adamant about. I hate fake politicians. Can't stand them. I hate the fact that we get just sunk into, these moronic idiots that don't give a crap about me or you. Okay, they care about what can you give me, and let's help out the big corporations and the big guy. Let's not help the average citizen. Okay, for all you who wonder, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm also not a Hillary supporter. Both of them, I think, in my opinion, are scumbags. Hillary, with all her scandals, and if you don't think that there are scandals, you can look back, as far as the 90s with Travelgate and all those things. Yep, sorry, I'm smoking because this one's a topic that I'm real sensitive about, real stressful to me. But you've got Hillary, who's a scandalous person, that just is a taker, take, and on the other side of the coin, you've got the crazy guy that Donald Trump, which don't get me wrong, I applaud his use of the First Amendment to say whatever the hell you want. Okay, I think that's a right that we're slowly losing because of politics and other things, but I also think that he's a moron. Okay. The guy couldn't run this country if you gave him the map to how to run a country and do it the right way. He would still find a way to screw it up. He's a bigot and a racist, and I can't stand the guy. He's an arrogant asshole. But with that being said, he might be the lesser of the two evils between himself and Hillary. I can't believe I just said that. But I am a Bernie Sanders supporter. Now, I've got a lot of friends who are very Republican, who can't stand the idea of Bernie's socialist views. And I'm not a socialist, okay? I'm not a capitalist. I'm an American, okay? I believe in everyone's right to have a fair and prosperous life, okay? I believe that everybody should be afforded the opportunities to make something of themselves, because at the end of the day, taking care of your fellow American, your brother, your sister, your neighbors, your people who you've run through, and come across in this lifetime, that's what matters more than some corporation or some politician making a few bucks or making changes that are going to negatively affect us in the long run. Geronimo, and I'm going to paraphrase, okay, basically said that we should think about what our actions do for 7 generations. Okay, that's a long time span. You got to think about the lifetime of a person. Okay, so if you want to make your decisions based off of how you're going to affect the country and the world 7 generations from now, these politicians don't do that. They look for the quick fix, the what's going to make the quick buck, or what's going to band-aid this situation. Bad politics are just engulfing our country, and literally, they're killing the middle class, and they're putting a huge separation between, the rich, the super rich, and, your average person. And then, an even larger gap between the folks who can't really afford anything. As far as my political beliefs, I believe that minimum wage should be $15 an hour. And you can scream at me all you want. $15 an hour would kind of put us right in line with where we were in the the late 30s and early 40s. But wages have been stagnant over the last 60 to 70 years, and it's just a fact. That's not me saying that. That's not me going, oh, I believe that everybody should make more money. That's a fact. Now, I don't get paid an hourly wage for what I do. I'm in the health industry. I'm paid commission, so my earnings are based off of how hard I try and how many people I talk to and things like that. But there are folks out there that work for these large corporations, Walmart, your Targets, your McDonald's, these large corporations that are making close to or minimum wage, and it's pretty sickening that these politicians keep giving tax breaks to these large corporations, and the theory is that if you give a tax break to a large corporation, well, the wealth's going to just trickle on down, which isn't the case. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever sat and talked to someone who makes minimum wage, or struggling to make a living, not because they're not smart enough or they don't try hard enough, but because they're stuck in a situation where, hey, I wasn't educated properly, I didn't have the opportunity, and there are a lot of folks out there, I don't care what you say, that weren't afforded the opportunity. I went to college, and I was actually turned down. I went to Middle Tennessee State. I've said in my last video, I was actually turned down to go to the college because I'd been out of school for so long, and my grades weren't that awesome in high school because I just really didn't give a shit in high school. Immaturity or whatever you want to call it. And at that point in my life when I decided to go to college, I wasn't going to take no for an answer. And I eventually got myself in during the semester I was trying to get in on. And so I had to fight, but there are a lot of Americans, inner city Americans, Americans coming from small towns, things like that can't afford to go to college, and they can't afford to, get higher education so they can get those better paying jobs. So when it comes to, the political aspect of that, I believe that college should be free and obtainable for people once they get out of high school, if that's something they so desire. Now, if you don't go to college or you didn't try to go to college and it was available to you, then I could see wagging your finger at the guy who is complaining about making $7-8 an hour, but he didn't take the opportunity. That's different. But when you don't have the opportunity presented to you, then it kind of makes for an unfair system. Same thing goes with socialized medicine. I'm in the healthcare industry. I believe that medicine should have a privatized side to it, meaning you can purchase health insurance to better your life. But I also believe that everybody should get a basic free healthcare system because we should be taken care of as a country. Our elderly, when it comes to Medicare, are not taken care of. They're treated like dogs. It is really sad how someone in their 70s and 80s and on up they're treated horribly by the system. And you can do your own independent research. I've looked into it. I've kind of browsed around, and they're treated horribly because the socialized system that we have right now is terrible. It's made for people who are really old and or who have really low incomes. But if everybody were on socialized medicine and we had a flat tax, and I am a believer in flat tax, then you would have better health care because the government could afford to pay doctors what they deserve. And this isn't a rip on doctors, because I think doctors deserve everything they get for what they do. The hospitals, the corporations of the healthcare industry, are gutting out healthcare from the inside out. The doctors aren't the ones that make all the money. Yes, they do make a good living, especially if they're good doctors. And there are some shady doctors out there who will sell their soul to the devil for a few bucks because they want to prescribe you something that you probably don't really need and all that. But that's for another day. But for the most part, there are really wonderful doctors out there. It's the hospitals that are destroying, you know, that portion of healthcare. They were charged for everything from a Tylenol to a hospital bed. It's ridiculous. I don't know about you, but there's never been a hotel that I've ever stayed in, and I know for a fact that hotels are a hell of a lot nicer than your local Trinity healthcare system or whoever, whatever hospital you go to, that I can go stay in for, $100 a night, $150 a night, not $6, $7, $8, $9, $1,000 a night. Pretty ridiculous if you ask me. They're charging upwards of 1,000% more than they should for everything. But there's no stop to it because we are, we're capitalist pigs. And don't get me wrong, I believe in capitalism, but I believe that there should be limits, just like there are limits on how long you can be president. Why aren't there limits on how much you can charge for health care? I know, because the politicians get paid by, by these pharmaceutical companies and these hospitals and other things. But anyways, I digress. We should have socialized medicine, but we should have the ability to pay for extra services if we want. As far as, these politicians go, they are trying to dismantle our right to free speech, our right to bear arms. And yes, I know I'm a progressive, but I do believe in the right to bear arms. I do believe in the right to free speech. If I want to tell somebody to F off, I should have that right. So you've really got to think about, who we're putting in office, how they're going to affect us, how they're going to affect our children, our children's children. Don't rush these bills to get passed, like the horrible Obamacare. When I first heard about Obamacare, I was huge on it. I'm like, healthcare, they're going to make healthcare affordable. And all they did was really just drive up the cost for folks. It's essentially just an expanded Medicaid program, and it doesn't help anybody, in the middle class. The small people, the ones that don't make, a decent living, sure, they get a subsidy and things like that. But the system itself is extremely flawed, and it doesn't take anyone too hard to look at it, to say, hey, it's flawed. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that it's a good thing that they are helping out folks. If you make $20,000 a year and you got a couple kids or whatever, it's definitely a big help. But I mean, really, at that point, you should be on Medicaid anyways. When it comes to how they treat immigrants, I mean, it's sickening. Think about it. Most of us are, almost all of us are immigrants in some form or fashion, because our grandparents, great-grandparents, their great-grandparents, and so on and so forth. And I am part Native American, so I do have some ties to people who are from here originally. But we're all a form of, immigrants. Okay, it's a fact. Stop voting for these politicians who are just trying to demean folks who are wanting to come here and make a better living for themselves. If you want illegals to stop coming to the country, then you need to go against the big corporations who are gutting out their countries and forcing them to come to our country. Okay, I don't know why people don't think about this, but the whole reason they come here is because there's a better way of life. Well, because large corporations can just kind of do whatever they want, the things that we do as far as invading, other countries and we're sitting there squatting in other countries or whatever, causing unrest and things like that, we're kind of making their life pretty miserable. So where are they going to go? They're going to go to, to the land of the free, the home of the brave, the, America, the place where your dreams can come true. Instead of saying, hey, we want to, to try and help other countries figure out a better solution. These politicians, they just kind of go, well, it's too late, screw it, whatever. Let's just, degrade all the immigrants and will destabilize nations and other things. That's what drives people to our country, instead of trying to help other nations figure out, hey, what can we do to show you how to make your economic situation better, to where people aren't coming in our country in droves. They're staying in their homeland, which they probably they don't want to leave. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to leave America, not because I have it so good. I don't have it super great. I mean, I do okay, but I wouldn't want to leave my home country for a foreign country where I don't know the language, and it's an uncomfortable situation, just to try and better myself. I would want to see if I could make my life and the lives of others around me better here at home. So I mean, you kind of got to think about that. I mean, we got to stop being we got to stop being D-bags, and instead of saying, hey, don't come to my country, figure out how we can help other countries, so that it doesn't happen, because I don't want to see any country overpopulated or overrun by having too many folks come in illegally. And the argument is hey, well, they mess up the economic situation in the country when they come over. Really, they don't. They do the jobs, and I'm speaking about mostly Mexican immigrants and Hispanic immigrants. A lot of Republicans, they want to demagogue those people and say, oh, well, they're ruining this or that, they're on our healthcare system. But here's the thing, folks, they're working, they're paying taxes, they're doing the jobs that your lazy ass just won't do. Same thing with me. I'm not going to go pick fruit for a living. I'm not going to go lay bricks for a living, or any other thing that you can think that a majority of immigrants do to try and make it in our system. They work harder than us. Whether you want to believe it or not, America, we've become lazy. Okay, they're willing to do the jobs that we're not. So if you're worried about immigrants taking over the country, then you better step up and start working your butt off, because they're actually earning their way, versus you, who thinks that we just deserve whatever. We deserve everything, that we should be given everything, and that's not the case. So you need to help folks out. Stop looking at politicians to try and kick these folks out of the country. They're paying taxes. They're actually helping our economy, believe it or not. Do some real math, folks, and you'll see. So I mean, the whole point of this video is to pay attention to what politicians you're backing. Okay, look into what bills they've passed, what things that they've actually done to either help or hurt the country. Don't just listen to the news media, Fox and CNBC and all these freaking news media outlets that are owned by the big corporations. They're owned by the man, and you're just willing to sit back and listen to them, and hey, these are the choices that you have, and that's all you have, and that's all you're going to get, and you're just okay with it. If you don't want to be okay with it, then start paying attention and freaking doing something about it. You don't like the politician, then oust them. Stop being lazy. You can't sit there and complain about not liking a politician if you're not willing to do something about it. Even if it's something as stupid and trivial as making a video on YouTube. We've got to do something about it and get the word out that, hey, there are better choices out there. Stop letting big money take over the political scene. These purchased politicians, these politicians for lease, they can go away. You can make that happen, but you have to be willing to try and make it happen, and not just sit back and go, well, gosh, my life is just terrible, and these daggone guys are, ruining my life. So I guess there's nothing I can do about it. There's always something you can do about it. Okay, pay attention to who you are voting for. Look into what they've done in the past, because guess what? That's a pretty good precursor as to what is going to happen in the future. Okay, so I appreciate everybody for watching. Hit like, hit subscribe, comment, down below, and tell me what your thoughts are, and if I'm right or wrong. And as always, pay attention, America, and help other people every day.